It is Saturday, July 7th. The Giants lose to the Cardinals 3-2. This is Giants Roundup on your Saturday evening. Still light though out there, still feels more like afternoon. And the Giants need now to get a split tomorrow. Follow on Twitter, join the Crooked Kite page on Facebook, and most importantly, please be kind and hit that subscribe button. And no, tomorrow is now going. Today's loss was not a good loss. And now it is going to be time for the Giants tomorrow is going to be a must-win situation for the Giants. And I normally don't say this early in the season. I mean, this part of the season, but it's time. This series is essentially a playoff series. At this point of the year, they need to get some wins. And it's time for the Giants to. It's time, though. Oh, thank you, Azofer. Thanks for the 10 subscribers. Hopefully, we can keep growing it. And hopefully, we start getting co-hosts and stuff in the future. But yeah, this was a series this was a game the Giants kind of needed a win, and now they need to get a split, especially with the Giants and the Cardinals both being on the bubble, and especially against a manager who's on the hot seat in Mike Matheny. And also you need to get a win to carry some momentum playing Chicago in your next series. That's not going to be any easier. And then, of course, the Oakland A's, they're no slouch this year. But certainly, if there's one great takeaway from today, was Jeff Samardzija. Five innings pitched, 3 earned. Not too terribly bad. Probably one of his best starts of the year. Strikes out 3, walks 1. His ERA goes down to 6.42. It could still need some work, but that's all right. The bullpen was pretty good today. Derek Holland, scoreless inning. Sam Dyson, a scoreless inning. Corey Guerin comes in. Guerin's actually been pretty good as of late. So now the weak link to the bullpen has been Ty Block, and he's probably hanging by a thread after today's roster moves. Chris Stratton was optioned to AAA to Sacramento. And surprisingly, the Giants purchased the contract of Chase DeArnaud. I don't think that's too bad. He could bring the Giants some speed into the lineup. Definitely some speed the Giants could use right now. That would be really good for the Giants and that's something they could be trading for at the deadline, is maybe get some speed into the lineup. And then Joe Panic goes on the 10-day disabled list. Hunter Strickland moves to the 60-day disabled list. And now the Giants are going to have some questions about what to do with Joe Panic this offseason. You know, he's still 28, but he's had injuries every single season since being called up. Is it maybe time to trade Joe Panic? This is going to be a good off-season topic here. And also Samardzija. If Samardzija can get it going here in this stretch run and have a strong finish to the season with the surplus of arms the Giants have, it could be time to listen to offers for Jeff Samardzija, maybe trade him elsewhere. And, it might be, especially if the Giants don't make the postseason, you may have to start listening to offers for Bumgarner, Cueto, Samardzija, and maybe start jump-starting into a rebuild situation after this year. And that could be a big question going into this offseason, is how much of a rebuild the Giants are going to need if they don't make the playoffs. As Ofer says, I think they should trade Panic to see what to get that are a bit safer. Yes, I agree. I really think this is going to be a good discussion for the offseason. I think it could be time to look at other options at second base. Possibly Brian Dozier is going to be available. That's one that could be a little bit of an upgrade. Or they could, of course, go out and acquire someone like Starlin Castro, who's younger than Panic. But you can't. But unfortunately, Panic's just starting to become more of a liability than an asset at this time and point of his career, and maybe it's time for him to get a fresh start elsewhere. But on to today's game. The Bats were AWOL today again. They only muster 8 hits. Most of the hits came from Brandon Belt. Belt goes 3 for 4 for the Giants, and it starts off with a double by the opposing pitcher Carlos Martinez. And it scores Colton Wong. Dexter Fowler sacrifices to left. It scores Marcell Ozuna. 2-0 Cardinals. And then Pena singles to shallow right. It scores DeJong. Wong goes to third, 3-0 Cardinals. And then the 6th inning, the Giants get on a board with a double by Brandon Belt. It scores Gorkis Hernandez, 3-1. And then Brandon Belt doubles to right. It scores Gorkis Hernandez. It certainly makes it 3-2, but unfortunately, that's the closest the Giants would get today. Now the Giants fall to 46-45 on the season. And what's worse is now Colorado has won 5 in a row, and the Giants fall to 4th place on the season. And they are now 4 games back of the division as of right now. They could fall to 4.5, depending on the Arizona game tonight, and also on what happens with the Dodgers. So the Giants don't have much more room for error as in terms of losing at this point, especially if Arizona or LA can start pulling away with the division. The good news though is 1 week away from the All-Star break after next week. So that's kind of a good news, but it doesn't get any easier after the break. You're still playing contenders at this point. And of course, divisional opponents in September. So the Giants, it's time to put the Bats need to get it going soon, or else the Giants could be facing that dreaded culture change nobody wants to hear. And certainly Bochy could start. We could start hearing retirement from Bochy. And so we'll see what happens. But 1 week left till the All-Star break. And it's time. It's now time. It's now or never to make a run for the Giants at this point. They need to start rattling off some wins. They don't need to go on a long streak, but they certainly need to win more than losing at this point. They need to start trending up. But at this point, I'm convinced they're nothing more than a 500 team at this rate, and they're not a playoff team at this point. Today's attendance was 39,606, and you can tell that, I think fans are starting to feel it. So I think attendance could even start suffering a bit more. You could see a lot more empty seats at AT&T Park if the Giants are continue just to scuffle around 500. But the Giants are going to be hard pressed to acquire anybody. That gets us on to our buyers or sellers for today. It's the Cincinnati Reds. The Cincinnati Reds need to sell at this year's deadline. They are doing better since Brian Price was fired in Cincinnati. They are going to have to make a tough decision on Scooter Gennett. I don't think Scooter is going to be able to get traded at the deadline. He would bring back a nice return, but just the market's not there for Scooter. But maybe Matt Harvey could be traded on the cheap somewhere. I just don't know if there's going to be a viable trade partner for Matt Harvey, and certainly a team will have to buy low on Matt Harvey. Another option for a team maybe needing a lefty out of the bullpen could be David Hernandez. He would probably be a cheap option for a team. And then you got Rizal Iglesias. He could bring back a nice return for the Reds for a team like Cleveland or LA or Houston that are looking for guys that can close. And he's got team control for the next 3 years. So Rizal Iglesias could bring back a nice, handsome return for the Reds at this year's trade deadline. And then, of course, some player the Giants kind of flirted with trading for before during this offseason, and the Reds wanted too much for Billy Hamilton. I could actually see the Giants maybe revisit a potential trade for Billy Hamilton. The good thing is I think the price is going to drop quite a bit for Billy Hamilton. He he doesn't hit for average, but what he would bring for the Giants is speed. He would be a good late inning situation when you need a pinch runner. He could be a good late innings replacement. He could be maybe a fourth outfielder for the Giants. Maybe you could go with, and maybe the Giants, maybe the Reds take back Austin Jackson in a potential trade for Billy Hamilton. That way the salaries almost match up there. And then maybe you give up somebody like Heath Quinn or some other mid level prospect. And also maybe kind of get with Tyler Beatty not going to be sniffing the show anytime soon with the Giants. Maybe go with maybe package in Tyler Beatty in a possible trade for Billy Hamilton. Beatty's just not had been good in Sacramento this year, and maybe he could be somebody that could benefit from a change of scenery. Or Mac Williamson. Everybody's Mac Williamson. He's had his moments, but I just think he's not going to fit with the Giants. I think his time has passed. So he could certainly be another candidate to go if the Giants were to say go out and acquire Billy Hamilton. But this would be, if they can get a cheap enough price for Billy Hamilton, and his price has certainly dropped. I don't think it's going to cost the Giants a top, and it should not cost the Giants a top. It might cost them a mid-level prospect to acquire Billy Hamilton, and then just throw in Austin Jackson to make it fit under the CBT. And then also for the Reds, I think they need to consider pulling the interim tag off of Jim Riggleman. The Reds have played much better under Riggleman, and now they're fighting for fourth place with the Pittsburgh Pirates at this moment. So I certainly think, but maybe not a long contract, but maybe a 1 or 2 year contract for Jim Riggleman. He could be a good bridge manager to oversee the rebuild in Cincinnati, unless they're dead set on going with John Farrell. But I think Riggleman's done enough to earn himself a short term to become the full time manager for the next 1 or 2 years. Let's go to the MLB Roundup for today. In Minnesota, the Twins beat the Orioles 5-4, taking the win. Kyle Gibson, who strikes out 9 in 7 innings pitched. The bad news was walking 4. Taking the loss, Matt Castro, who gives up 2 earned in. No, Miguel Castro, who gives up 2 earned in 1 inning pitch for the Orioles. And Fernando Rodney nets his 19th save of the year. In Wrigley today, the Cubs make a comeback to beat the Reds 8-7, taking the win. Ruby Rosario taking the loss. Jared Hughes. Brandon Morrow gets his 20th save of the season for the Cubbies. Eugenio Suarez goes 2 for 3 for the Reds. Javi Baez, have yourself a game, goes 4 for 5 for the Cubs. Victor Caratini goes 2 for 3 for the Cubbies. Addison Russell goes 2 for 3. Baez hits his 17th home run of the year. Suarez his 18th home run of the year. And the Reds do survive a rough outing out of Tyler Chatwood, who walks 4, surrenders 7 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings pitched. But the Reds' bullpen was terrible today. Amir Garrett, 3 earned in 1 inning pitched. David Hernandez gives up an earned run in 1/3 of an inning pitched for the Reds' bullpen. In Pittsburgh today, in the Battle of Pennsylvania, the Phillies beat the Pirates 3-2. Taking the win, Jake Arrieta. Taking the loss, Jamison Tylon. Sterling Marte goes 3 for 4 for the Pirates. Maikel Franco goes 2 for 3 for the Phillies. And now the Phillies still are tied with the Reds for first place. And the Phillies have won 6 in a row. North of the border today, the Yankees beat the Blue Jays 8-5, taking the win. Luis Severino, his 14th win of the season. And J.A. Happ taking a pounding today, 6 earned in 2 2/3 innings pitched. And what's worse is he walks 6 batters in this game. And Happ's trade value is free falling. And the Yankees still are a game and a half back of the Red Sox at this point. In 11 innings today, the A's beat the Indians 6-3. Blake Treinen gets his 5th win of the year. Josh Tomlin gives up 3 earned in 1 inning pitch for the Indians. Jed Lowry goes 2 for 5. Matt Chapman, have yourself a game, goes 4 for 4. And then Chris Davis hits his 21st home run of the year for the A's. Jed Lowry his 15th home run of the year. And the A's do it with back-to-back home runs in the 8th by Lowry and Davis. And then Max Piscotty in the 11th inning, a 3-run bomb. That would be the difference for the Oakland A's. They improved to 49-40 on the year. And Edwin Jackson walks 4 in 5 2/3 innings pitched. No Ramirez gives up 3 earned in 1/3 of an inning pitched. Corey Kluber, 7 shutout innings in return from injury. And Josh Tomlin could be pitching his way out of Cleveland soon. In Milwaukee today, the Braves beat the Brewers 5-1. Taking the win, Anibal Sanchez strikes out 8 6 2/3 innings pitched. Aaron Wilkerson, making his debut for the Brewers today, takes the loss. Freddie Freeman, 3 for 4 for the Braves. And then Mike Zagorski gives up 3 earned in 1 inning pitched. Reese just called up today. His ERA is now 63. Not good. That ERA should fall down a skosh in the next game. In Detroit, the Tigers beat the Rangers 7-2. Taking the win is Mike Fiers. Taking the loss, Cole Hamels, who only goes 2/3 of an inning pitched, gives up 3 earned. And I don't think that's good news. Nope, Cole Hamels was just chased in 2/3 of an inning pitched, gives up 3 earned, and allows 7 runs altogether. Walks 2, strikes out 2. Matt Moore comes in, actually has a good game for once. 4 1/3 scoreless innings from Matt Moore after Cole Hamels gets chased out very early in the game. In Queens today, the Rays blank the Mets 3-0, taking the win. Blake Snell, 7 1/3 scoreless innings, 9 strikeouts, 3 walks. Taking the loss, Steven Matz, who only gives up an earned run in 6 1/3 innings pitched. Getting the save, former Giant Sergio Romo, his 9th save of the year for the Rays. Wilmer Flores goes 3 for 4 for the Mets. And now Sergio Romo lowers his ERA to 4.23 on the year. In Seattle, the Rockies beat the Mariners 5-1, so the A's gain a game on the Mariners today. Taking the win, Scott Oberg. Taking the loss, James Paxton, who gives up 4 earned in 7 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk. Gerardo Parra goes 2 for 3. And then Pat Valaika goes two for 3 for the Rockies today. Kyle Seager goes 2 for 2 for the Mariners. Mitch Haniger goes 2 for 2 for the Mariners. And in Houston today, the Astros beat the White Sox 12-6. Taking the win, Charlie Morton, who gives up 5 earned in 5 2/3 innings pitched. Taking the loss and a pounding today is Big Game James Shields, who gives up 8 earned in 5 2/3 innings pitched for the White Sox. Alex Bregman goes 3 for 5 for the Astros. Max Stassi goes 3 for 5. Gurriel hits his 6th home run of the year. Bregman his 17th home run of the year, and gets an out and has a tremendous throw to throw out a White Sox player today. And then Jace Fry gives up 3 earned in 2/3 of an inning pitch for the White Sox today. And games currently in one more that just went final. The Redskins beat the Dolphins 18-4, taking the win. Max Scherzer taking the loss. Yin Chen, who gives up 7 earned runs and 4 1/3 innings pitched. Not a good day at all for the Marlins. Bryce Harper goes 3 for 3. His bat finally wakes up today. His average goes up to 219. Brian Goodwin 1 for 1. Matt Reynolds 5 for 5 with 2 home runs, his 10th home run of the year. And Pedro Severino actually hits a home run today for the Nationals. And then Elisa Hernandez comes in, gives up 10 earned runs in 2 1/3 innings pitched for Miami. Not good. And it was just one of those games where the starters just had to take it on the chin with the bullpen being as tired as they were last night. So I was a little surprised in this game we didn't see a position player pitch. And games currently in progress. The Dodgers currently lead the Angels 3-1. Currently at bat, Pique Hernandez, who has gone 1 for 1 with 2 walks. Mike Trout 3 for 4 with his 25th home run of the year for the Angels. Yasiel Puig's gone 2 for 4 for the Dodgers. And Deck McGuire strikes out 6 in 3 innings pitched. Taylor Cole, 2 earned runs in 2 2/3 innings pitched. Ross Stripling only gives up a home run to Trout, pitches 6 innings strong, strikes out 7 for the Dodgers, and will stay in the rotation. He hits and also hit Andrelton Simmons with a pitch. Yasiel Puig has hit a home run today in his 10th home run of the year. And in Kansas City, the Red Sox lead the Royals 7-4. Mookie Betts going 3 for 5 for the Red Sox. Whit Merrifield 2 for 3 for Kansas City. Lucas Duda hits his 7th home run of the year. Brad Keller 4 earned and 4 2/3 innings pitched for Kansas City. 5 walks, not good. Jason Adam 2 earned and 1 inning pitched for the Royals. David Price 4 earned and 4 2/3 innings pitched. And he also hit 3 batters in the first inning. He hit Moustakas, Perez, and Duda, and then after that, warnings were issued, and nobody else was hit after that. And he did strike out 9. That was good there. And in Arizona, the D-backs currently are trailing the Padres in the bottom of the first inning 2-0. And in minor league action today, the Grizzlies currently losing to the 51s 5-4. And the River Cats in the first inning losing to the Reno Aces 3-0 in the bottom of the first inning. And currently pitching for the River Cats is Mike Connolly, who's probably going to earn a trip back to AAA pitching like this. Neftali Feliz is actually your starter today for the Aces. And now tomorrow it will be Madison Bumgarner on the mound. So that definitely should help the Giants' chances at winning tomorrow. If he can get just a skosh more run support from the bats, that is. He's going to go up against Jack Flaherty. He's 3-4 with 3.19 ERA. So the bats need to get it going tomorrow. Bumgarner's on the mound. It's time to get a W. Time to carry a win into the next series against the Cubbies, which is going to be a little bit harder than the Cardinals. And the Giants just need this win at this point. It's must-win time. Time to make a run. The All-Star break is near. All right, we'll see you tomorrow afternoon after tomorrow's game. For everybody, have a good evening. I'm going to watch some UFC. Take care.